Hello. Okay, so I met this girl named Amber when I was about 11 years old, and she had this long jet black hair and this brown sugar skin that was so beautiful, and she was so funny. She would make me laugh at the most random things, and no one else would laugh at them but me. And we became best friends instantly, so fast, and we started hanging out at each other's houses, but we went to her house most of the time because my house was kind of old and dirty, and I was kind of embarrassed of it, so we just went to her house most of the time. And when we got to her house, we would do the most random things. We would play video games, we would cook together, but we loved listening to music, especially Michael Jackson. We would listen to all of his music all day long. We would watch all of his videos, and one time she even tried to teach me how to moonwalk, and I'm not going to try it, but I'm just going to tell you that I still can't do it to this day. And I felt a certain way about her that I didn't really understand because I was so young. I didn't understand what was going on with my hormones, and you know, but I knew it was something different because the way I felt about her, I didn't feel about my other friends. But I realized what this feeling was on the last day of 6th grade. It was dark, and there were 40 minutes left until summertime, and Julia Andrews was singing her heart out in the sound of music, and there she was, sitting right next to me, cracking jokes as usual. And little did she know that I was shitting bricks on the inside because I wanted to get her cell phone number. She had a home phone, but we didn't talk a lot on it, and she just got a cell phone, so I wanted to get her number so we can talk even more. So, before I knew it, there was 10 minutes left of class, and I was like, okay, Chloe, get the courage. You can ask her. So I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, hey, you should give me your number. And she said, why? I was so shocked. I was expecting her to say, yeah, Chloe, here's my number, and we would ride off into the sunset together, but that didn't happen. So, of course, the only thing that I could say was, so I can call you? And she laughed and she gave me her number, and as soon as she did that, the bell rang for class. And I remember seeing all of our friends rushing out of the door, super excited for summertime, but we walked a little slow because we were kind of sad that we wouldn't be able to see each other 5 times a week for a couple of months. And when I got home, I rushed to the phone to call her, but I stopped in my tracks because I didn't want to call her so fast and seem really creepy, but I gave in and I called her. And from that moment until the end of summertime, we talked every single day, and I got to know her way more than I thought I would. And by the time 7th grade came, everyone knew that Amber was my best friend. We would talk from morning until the time we had to leave for school, and it got so bad that our teachers had to change our schedules around so we didn't have classes together, but we got around it. We started writing notes to each other, and I remember this one specific note that she wrote to me, and it said, "Not a note, just wanted to tell you that I love you." And when I read that note, I realized that I was in love with her. And I wanted to tell her, but I was so nervous, I didn't know if she would feel the same way, so I did what we usually do, and I just wrote her a note. And in the note, I explained to her that I had this friend that I was in love with, but I didn't know how to tell her, and I just was really scared. And so, I remember, school was almost up, and we were walking to her car, and it was like 6th grade, the end of 6th grade, all over again, and I was shitting bricks, and she was cracking jokes, and yeah, bad memories. So I remember, she was walking to her car, and as soon as she opened the door, I was like, hey, here, take this note, bye. And I went home. When I got home, I was pacing around the house, beating myself up, saying, Chloe, why would you do that? She's not gonna call you, she hates you, you're never gonna hear from her again. But she called me that night. And she kept interrogating me, asking me who this mysterious person was, and I finally told her that it's you. And it was so awkward. It felt like 10 minutes, but it was really only like 10 seconds. But she told me, I feel the same way. And at that moment, she became my best friend and my girlfriend. And God, will I tell you, it was amazing. We were so flirty and cute, you know, like how you guys were when you were our age. And I remember We had our entire life planned out. Okay, we were gonna move to Florida. I was gonna be this fancy dancer, and she was gonna be one of those people who swam with the dolphins in SeaWorld, and we were gonna get married, and we were gonna have kids, and I was gonna have to carry the baby, but I didn't have a problem with that. And everything was just great. But I realized a couple months later that not everyone felt the same way about our relationship. I remember this specifically, New Year's Eve. We were texting each other as usual, and my dad walks in and asks to see my phone. And he sees the text messages between us, and he gets so angry so fast, and he's like, why are you talking to her like this? What is this? What is going on? And we went to my mom's house, and I remember on the way there, he didn't look at me, he didn't talk to me, and I couldn't understand what I did wrong. And by the time we got to my mom's house, I remember it was my mom on the right and my dad on the left, and they kept interrogating me like I had committed a crime, like I killed someone, and I didn't understand why. And my mom kept asking me, do you like girls? Why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing this. You have a problem. And she got herself so angry that she ripped my phone in half and threw it at me. And I had just got that cell phone about 2 weeks ago for Christmas. I was even more devastated. So we had to call Amber's mom, her extremely Christian mom. So of course she said, no, not my daughter. It has to be your daughter. My daughter would never do anything like this. And at that moment, we had to stop talking to each other. And when we got back to school after Christmas break, it was so awkward. We would see each other in the hallways and in class, and we would want to talk to each other, but we didn't know if we could. We didn't know if someone was watching us. And after a couple weeks, I finally got the courage, and I talked to her, and we got back together, but we had to be sneakier so no one would find out. But I guess I couldn't handle it, and I cheated on her with a guy. I don't even like guys anymore, so I don't even... Anyways, and it became a pattern of me going back to her and me leaving her for a guy, and that cycle of just going on and on and on. And then we eventually just kind of fell off and stopped talking. And I haven't really talked to her since, except for when I came to college. Right before I was about to leave, I texted her and I said, hey, I was just wondering what your sexuality was. And she never texted me back. Thank you.